All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about Carnival Cruise Line traps people are still falling for.
Yeah, a lot of people are falling for the traps of Carnival, and they've done some things to try to get as much money out of cruise passengers as possible, and those things definitely do work. So we're going to alert you to what some of those are and help you avoid some of them. And the first thing we're going to jump right in here with Carnival is we were just on a Princess cruise, which is also owned by Carnival. And the funny thing about it was the drink package was way cheaper on Princess than it was on Carnival. And we started to think about why that was. It's because the people that go on Princess don't normally drink as much. So if you're going to get the drink package on Carnival, just know that you're paying a very inflated rate because some of the people on Carnival drink a lot. And if you're only going to be drinking a couple drinks a day, it's probably better just to not get the drink package at all.
Yeah, and I think what's funny is they sell their drink package as an unlimited drink package, but if you pay close attention, there's a little asterisk in there that most people do not notice is on there. And the reason that's on there is because the unlimited package has a limit. They will cut you off at a certain number of drinks. It's changed over the years, but they will cut you off at a certain number of drinks per day. So if you're trying to you're like, I'm going to get my money's worth. I'm going to get 4 drinks with every single meal, and I'm going to get drinks at the pool. Well, there's a limit to how many you could get. So you'll get your money's worth, but they are going to cut you off. And I think the other thing too is, I've experienced this or I think that they also water down the drinks considerably on a cruise line like Carnival so that they could save a little bit extra money there on the alcohol, and they're still charging you a really high price for those beverages. So we always on Carnival, we just pay per drink. We don't drink much at all. And it just makes way more sense. We spend way less than trying to both pay for the drink package. It just makes so much more sense to just get that instead.
Yeah, that's the other thing that they get you on is that both of you have to get the drink package. So if only one of you is going to be able to drink all the drinks, the other one isn't, it still makes sense not to do it. You also have to factor in the fact that on port days, you're not even going to be on the ship, so your chances of drinking all the drinks you need to drink to make it worth it are not as high. So if you have like 5 port days in a row, really calculate how much you think you'll drink because it's not going to be that easy if you're off the ship.
Yeah, and first-time cruisers don't realize this on Carnival, but you can bring drinks on board. You can bring 1 bottle of wine or champagne per person in your room, and also you can bring sodas with you as well. I forget how many in the 12-pack, but you can bring at least 12. You see people, you can bring a 12-pack, I think, per person. So there are, you can bring your own drinks on. You have a mini fridge in your room, so you can keep your drinks cool too, which is great. And then you have access to free water if you bring your own bottle in the buffet. You can refill bottles there, so you don't even have to buy the bottled water either.
Next one's going to be participating in the raffles on embarkation day. We've done this. We've done the one in the spa, the thermal suite, where you go, you listen to the whole presentation, you put your name in the hat, and then after an hour of endless talk about really things you don't want to hear about, they'll pull out a few winners, and the prizes will be like, they'll say, you know, you're getting $50, but it's $50 off of a spa treatment, which is $200. So it's really $50 off of a treatment you didn't want to pay for anyway. It's still $100 overpriced. It should have been $50 in the first place. So it's really not a great prize, and you got to go through all this stuff just to not win a bad prize.
Yeah, and then what they do is they keep sending little notes to your room throughout the week or however long you're on the cruise ship for. They send you little notes like, oh, we have such and such discount. So they got you on their list basically after that as well. So all those opportunities where there's like giveaways or come get your free, bracelet or charm or whatever, all of those are selling opportunities for Carnival. So just know that you are walking into a, presentation and something is going to be sold to you. Obviously, you don't have to buy these things. And if you want the free thing desperately, then for sure, go to these things if that's what you want. But know ahead of time that you're going to have to sit through the whole, talk of whatever, because the thing does not happen until the very end. So you can't just grab what you want and leave. You're stuck there.
Next one's going to be getting more than one Wi-Fi package. We always just share Wi-Fi on a ship. We find it works fine. We don't normally both need to be on Wi-Fi at the same time. And the Wi-Fi is a huge moneymaker for Carnival. They will have people spending tons of money every day, families of 4, everyone getting the Wi-Fi. You're at $100 a day just to do that. It's like, that used to be the cost of the cruise. Now it's just the cost of the Wi-Fi. So we do not do that. We just share the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and by sharing, we just do, we just share with a hotspot on one of our phones, a non-iPhone. So an Android, we do a hotspot and then we just share it between us instead of having to go back and forth. We can both use it at the same time. And we do spend all of our time basically together on the ship for the most part. So it doesn't matter because we're always together anyways. So we just use it that way. Even if you have a family though, you should still really only share the one, and you don't have to be on your phones the whole time that you're on the ship anyways, because you're there to have a good time, go swimming, do all the fun stuff, eat all the fun meals, and if you're together then you could all be on the Wi-Fi together. If not, then just take a break from it. It's good for you.
Next one is buying packages that don't really add up. So it used to be that you could buy bottles of water before you got on a Carnival ship, and they would have 10, 12 bottles of water sitting in your stateroom when you got in there, and they were cheap. It was like $1.50 a bottle. Well, now the last Carnival cruise we went on, they didn't have that package anymore, and they had the same 12 bottles of water, but it came with a Carnival cooler, and instead of $1 or $1.50, it was like $50 for the 12 bottles of water and the cooler, because of course, why would you not want to get the $40 cooler? So just look at these things and make sure you're not getting ripped off by add-ons that don't really add a lot of value. You're essentially paying $40 for a cooler when you get that, as opposed to just getting water by itself.
Exactly. I think they just, they have a lot of things like that where they bundle things together, and it's like, do the math on this before you purchase it, because it is going to save you some more money that you could use for another vacation instead of just wasting it at, every single time you're on a cruise. Don't waste your money. Save it because you could use it for your next cruise.
Okay, stateroom upgrade bidding is the next one, and this is kind of a crazy one because they've realized that when they have unsold staterooms, instead of just upgrading people for free, they can get people to bid on this. And we have talked to people that have bid to upgrade more than they could have just bought the upgrade for originally. So if it was $100 to go from an inside to a balcony when they booked, or probably more like $300 or $400, they're bidding more than that to upgrade, so they could have just bought it. And they don't think about the math on that. They just, well, we really did want the balcony. Maybe we'll get lucky, but getting lucky means you're still paying for it.
Yeah, and the thing is, sometimes they drop the price also on their website, and depending on the type of fare that you have, you may be able to just rebook and get the room that you actually want and get it for a reduced rate, if they've dropped it down on the website. So you got to keep an eye on stuff, because they do kind of trick you with the numbers, because they'll say, oh, you can upgrade for as little as $100. But then when you get on there and you try to upgrade, they're like, oh, you have 0 chance if you bid 100. You should bid 500. Then you go all the way to 500 when you really could have just rebooked it and gotten it for another $150, $200. So that's kind of silly to do that. So definitely do the math on anything like that.
Yeah, that's why we also say don't pay your cruise off in full right when you book it, because if the price drops and you have a low deposit, you could just always lose your deposit and rebook it. We've done that where we had only $100 deposit and the cruise fare dropped by $300. We're just like, well, we'll give up the 100 to save 300. So that can work for you too. Next one is going to be the loyalty program. You do get things for free with the loyalty program. People don't realize it though, and they never go pick them up.
Yeah, I think it's shocking. We've had this happen to us where we weren't paying attention when we moved from one tier to another tier, and we got some free stuff, and it actually happened by accident. I went to go buy a liter bottle of water at one of the bars to take back to the room, and he said, "Oh, it's free." When I gave him the card, he was like, "Oh, it's, you know, zero. You just have to sign the receipt." I was like, "Zero?" He was like, "Yeah, you have one on your account." I was like, "What?" And then I went and looked, and I was like, "Oh, we moved up a level, and we get a free bottle of water." We each got one. We didn't realize it, so then we went and got one with your card too. And we had those. But there's lots of things like that, you know, or like you get, you know, 20% off at some place, or you can go to, you know, a captain's reception, or lots of different things like that. You have to pay attention what level you're at if you're in the loyalty program, and, you know, see where you're at and what you get, because Carnival will not tell you. They hide the information. You have to do the work yourself.
Next one's going to be some special deals on wine.
Yes. Now, if you want a free bottle of wine, book a specialty restaurant on embarkation day, and on some cruises also on the first sea day. It varies by ship and by sailing, depending on what type of sailing it is. So make sure you check on that. But they give you a free bottle of wine if you book a specialty restaurant, usually on embarkation day or the first sea day as well. And oftentimes too, they'll do the 50% off one bottle of wine only on those days. 50% off the bottle of wine of $100 or more. And they actually have an offer also for solo travelers that basically they give you what's equivalent to like a half bottle of wine, which is I think 2 glasses of wine you get for free for the same thing for the specialty restaurants with the same stipulations. So make sure you check on embarkation day, or call in or check in the app, because you don't want to give that up if it's something that you enjoy.
Next one's going to be dealing with tipping, and tipping is kind of a hot topic for a lot of people right now in America. It has really gotten out of hand. We had been out of the country for a while, came back, and the tipping was just crazy, what was expected, and it really, for us, I know it pushed us back, like, all right, that's where we're drawing the line. We're not going past this amount because it's frankly just crazy. So on Carnival, you do pay gratuities on the ship every day automatically. That's just going to be taken out. But you will always see an opportunity to tip more on any service you get. It'll say additional tip, and you do need to realize that's an additional tip. You're already paying the tip for that. So if it is warranted to pay an additional tip, like you had incredible service, then that's one thing, and that's fine to do. But you should not feel pressured into giving an additional tip because you have already tipped.
Exactly. I think that's where people get, again, you know, it's the tough thing about tipping is that the person is right in front of you with the little thing, but just understand, hey, I've already tipped this person. Now, if they've gone above and beyond and you feel compelled to do an additional tip, and it actually says additional tip, although they abbreviate the word additional, I think that's also purposely done as well, because there's plenty of room to actually write out the whole word additional. I think they purposely shorten it just to say, oh, okay, I need to leave, you know, so people get confused and leave a tip. Just know that that's in addition to what they're going to get for that anyways.
Yeah, and then the next thing is to be sure to check your invoice throughout the trip, because things can get snuck on there that either weren't right or were a mistake, and you want to deal with those as you go along, not on the last day, because on the last day everyone will realize they have a mistake, and the line will be super long to get those things fixed.
Oh my goodness, the line on that last day when everybody gets their invoices, they're like, OMG, I don't want to stand in this line for an hour. Like the whole cruise is like empty. There'll be like 1 or 2 people in line. You get to that last day and it's like an emergency. Everybody goes down there to do the stuff. So try to get that stuff taken care of throughout the cruise. We've actually have had stuff put on our room by mistake. You know, like they put a drink on or something that was somebody else's at dinner or something like that. So make sure you're keeping track of it, because things like that can get snuck on there inadvertently. And that way, I think also for first-time cruisers, can be kind of shocking the last day to get that total. Oh my gosh, that's so much money. Well, you know, you're getting your gratuities per person added on every single day that you're on there. If you're not keeping tabs on it, it could kind of take your breath away on that last day.
Yeah, so those are the things that Carnival is doing to get more money on if you win our cruise ship. If you have others, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear them. If you liked the video, please give it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and we will see you on the next video.